The 15-Point Plan is part of the Win, Make, Give podcast network.
Welcome back to the 15-Point Plan podcast. My name is Ryan Greigg, and as always, I am here with my amazing co-host and my friend, Jacqueline Smith. The 15-Point Plan, it's a system, right, Jacqueline? It is a system, helps make the ordinary extraordinary, regular humans turning them into superhumans. And really, it just gives us a little more energy and a little bit less stress. Right, Jacqueline?
Absolutely. I'm a fan, and I've recently been recommitting to tracking because I've been a little off track. This time of year, I find I need a little extra accountability. And so I'm tracking, after a while, I think using it, it's easy to, a lot of these habits, they're habits, right? And so they're not something necessarily that we're building, but it is still easy to get off track with things. And then I think the cool part is when you can just develop awareness and get, quicker and quicker at getting back on track each time that you fall off.
That's right. Yeah, having that system in place is a way to remind yourself, look, we're not always going to be, quote, perfect. We might fall off a day or a couple days, but the more we track it, the more we work on it, then the less likely we're going to stay off track. Like Ben would say, like to stay out of a rut, to get out of a rut. We're going to bounce back even quicker when we track it and when we're aware of what we're doing and how we feel, right?
Yep, absolutely.
So you and I were recently, we got to hang out together, which is rare. And it's awesome that we get to spend time in person. And, one of the points on the 15-Point Plan is learning. And if you've listened to these podcasts in the past, you know that Jacqueline, especially, and hopefully myself, we do like to learn. We do like to continue to have coaches and be around people that are inspiring, and that whole idea of being as successful as the average of the 5 people that you hang out with, I think is really important. And so it's super important to keep learning and to keep showing up in rooms where, yes, you can teach some things sometimes. Yes, there's people like you, but also where there's people that are doing the things that you want to do. So we go to this mastermind a few times a year. It's called the Metrics Mastermind. Big shout out to Brian Gubernick, because he also has a podcast on our Win, Make, Give podcast network. It's called the No Days Off podcast. And Brian, Jacqueline, he's one of those dudes that I just like look up to, in a lot of ways, like with his health, with his wellness, with his finances and his business. And so we got to go spend a couple of days with him and our friend and business partner, Ben Kinney, and about 100 other people at this Metrics Mastermind. And it's a conversation over a couple of days, heavily focused around real estate and around wealth building and around health. And I love the topic that Ben started us off with, right?
Yeah, it was super powerful. And it was all about the brain. And correct me if I'm wrong, the quote that just has been like haunting me in a good way is everything psychological is biological. Did I get it right?
You got it right. Yeah, everything psychological is biological. So break that down for us, Jacqueline. I'm curious, what did that mean to you? And then I'll tell you kind of what it meant to me before we get into where Ben went with it.
Yeah, well, I'll just share, there's been times he said this. He said something like, you've got to really dive into like what's really going on with people. Otherwise, you can end up trying to solve, like as an example, like a hormonal problem with like a business tactic, and I can see times in my life where, for biological reasons, my energy was not consistently where it should be, right? And then how, when you're unaware, you can start projecting those things onto like your business or even your marriage or onto these other things in your life and start solving the wrong problems.
Yeah, we start solving the wrong problems because our energy is just being drained. One of the other quotes that came up in that section was, when energy drops, strategic thinking fails. So I think it was a really great way to start a couple days around learning, around wealth building, around building big businesses, because it's very challenging to even care about your wealth or to work on building a big business when you just don't feel well, when you are tired because you didn't sleep well, when you are dehydrated. And so it just really reminded us, I think Ben even talked about the 15-point plan. It reminded us the importance of all these things to
Yeah.
keep our biology in check. Because if our biology is not functioning properly, then we can just be kind of a mess. We can be a real mess. And um, I'm learning as I'm now 44, this becomes ultra and exponentially more important as we get older, doesn't it?
Oh, yes. Especially, I think, well, I don't know. I think when you're a woman and you're getting older. Um, and it's interesting because, like, I can even see times where, like, even talking to my team, like I'll be doing like maybe a presentation on something, and you could listen to that presentation on one day when you're feeling great and you're super energized and you're just like fired up and like, I love this, like, yes, yes, yes. And then you could listen to that same presentation when you are tired and like in a bad mood because you're tired, and like hate me and like not, you know what I mean? Like, I hate the presentation. And I have a coach, and so I started working with her in December. And then this last December, I was sharing with her, hey, I kind of feel just like really unmotivated and I feel tired. I'm starting to like skip my workouts. And, I wanted to talk all about my feelings on this one particular coaching call. And she was so good. She kept bringing me back to like the practical things. And she was like, I remember because we started working together this time last year. This was in December. She was like, last December, you were also telling me that you were feeling the same way. Like, she remembered this one coaching call where I was like, I literally skipped my workout and had a Christmas cookie for breakfast. And I watched a Hallmark movie while drinking my coffee, like instead of journaling. And guess what? I was literally not mad or sad about it at all. And she was like, that's great. Like, there are days where it's like, yeah, watch a movie in the morning and eat a Christmas cookie, And if you did that every day or like every week, it probably wouldn't be good for you, like long term. And so she was like, I just noticed this pattern in you. And I'm wondering, when was the last time you got your blood checked? And I said, the last time I got my blood work done was last year when I told you I had the COVID. And you told me I should go get my blood work done. And yes, lo and behold, it revealed that I had some deficiencies and had some hormonal stuff going on. And so I just went and got my blood work done, again. And it's a pattern in my life, apparently. We it could be as simple as, I don't know what it is this time yet, but it could be as simple as like it's the Pacific Northwest and it's like dark and depressing here. Um, but it could be something more going on. But either one of those, if I start projecting that onto my business or onto my family or something like that, like, then I could be causing like more problems than I'm solving, because I'm actually not even solving the real problem. The real problem is that I'm freaking tired, I'm unmotivated, and there's probably something scientific that explains why.
And so like what's a tactical or a real example of that? You mentioned the Pacific Northwest. Here's the thing, we don't see very much sun at this time of the year.
Right.
So many of us are going to be vitamin B deficient. Did I say B?
D,
Vitamin D.
yeah.
Vitamin D deficient. In other words, we are not getting enough vitamin D. We're kind of grumpy because we're not getting sunshine. Well, guess what? You can go buy a $20 bottle of vitamin D. You take 4,000 or 5,000 units of vitamin D, and it's going to significantly impact how you feel. So that is a great example of like a biological deficiency that could be found with blood work. That's a couple $100, or you can go to some places where you go see a doctor and you'll talk with them about it. Then you can get a prescription for getting blood work. It's not all that expensive. And if you're in a crappy mood and you're not performing at the level that you want to, what's a few $100 to go find out, oh, it's actually a $20 or $30 fix to take this supplement that's going to actually make me feel better. So that's a good example for us here in the Pacific Northwest. Like, we are likely vitamin D deficient. You can get that for such an inexpensive fix. Now, I'm
I
not saying I can't prescribe these things, but that's an example I've experienced. You've probably experienced, and many of us here, especially in this time of year, are going through.
Side note, we're not doctors, but do you increase your vitamin D dosage this time of the year? Because I take the same amount the whole year around. I just take it all the time, every day.
I don't increase it, but I take it year round. Yeah, 4 to 5,000 units. I don't
Like
remember the
I
term of
feel like I
use.
need like a double or triple dose right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us there were four things Ben talked about.
Yeah, it's for chemicals, really. And, an easy way to look at this is like you mentioned the cookie on the couch. What you're doing, and it sounds awesome, like a cookie on the couch, watching a movie in the morning.
Not
Look,
just any movie, a Hallmark movie.
a Hallmark movie, maybe you got some eggnog. Like, look, it's the holidays. Like, earn that. Like, do that. It's okay, but do it intentionally, I think, is one thing to look at. Do it intentionally, because what you're doing is you're just giving your body a hit of dopamine. And dopamine is that feel good chemical. So we'll talk about these four chemicals real quickly that can really be impacted throughout this stage of your body biologically malfunctioning a little bit. But that first one is dopamine. And that's as simple as, oh, I don't feel good. Let me just get a little hit of dopamine. I'm going to eat this cookie on the couch and watch a movie. But guess what? The quicker, more accessible, or easier hits of dopamine often cause a dopamine crash. They often cause you to feel good real quick and feel pretty crappy.
Real bad. Uh, and so, some other ways that we get dopamine are posting on social media. Sometimes we're doing that because we're providing value to our audience and we're creating content for our consumers. And other times we're doing it because we want attention.
We want a little validation. We want to feel good,
Yep.
right? Like, that's kind of the definition of dopamine is we want to feel good. And oddly enough, when somebody comments or likes on a post of ours, we get that little hit of dopamine. But again, we're doing that throughout the day. We're not doing the things like exercising or doing the things that give us the longer term, more hardworking dopamine hits. We are
Yep.
just bound to crash. And then we're going to be grumpy. And then we're going to be like, oh, I'm in this terrible mood. No, your biology's off a little bit. You're getting these miniature dopamine hits, artificial dopamine hits. So it's a motivational molecule, but you have to be very careful with it because it's got good and bad sides to it. The next one is oxytocin, and that's like a trust building, empathy, and connection. It's a bonding hormone. Like, it's the glue of human connection, they said. And like, I think you get a boost of oxytocin when you get a hug, or when you get to hold hands with your hubby. And I have really,
Or your cat. Let's talk about the cat cuddles. Those provide an exceptional amount of oxytocin.
or your cat cuddles if you're not a dog person. uh, and I, you know, I really do think oxytocin is so important in relationships, Jacqueline. Like, when you don't see your significant other for a while and
Mhm.
don't get to hold their hand and don't get to hold them, it's so much easier to get grumpy. It's so much easier to maybe get into a little bit more of an argument than you want to. But then you get to hold their hand and you're just like, okay, like, and I'm speaking like I'm me. I was so dumb. Like, what was I thinking? Like, I'm just, gosh. And so
Guys are
oxytocin,
always so dumb.
well, yeah, 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 we are. We can be very dumb.
Let's be real about this. Okay.
So dopamine number one,
Oxytocin.
oxytocin, feel good. It's a feel good. It's a touch based chemical. Then you got serotonin, and this is kind of a mood stabilizer. And serotonin is highly impactful on your sleep and your happiness, confidence. And serotonin is going to be triggered by exercise. It's triggered by gratitude. So there's another point on your plan. Checking that gratitude box. And serotonin really is going to keep that mood stable. So dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and lastly, endorphins, right? Endorphins. So all four of these chemicals can just so grossly get thrown off by what we're doing, what we're eating, those dopamine hits that we're taking quickly. Endorphins are going to give you like a alleviation of pain. They're going to help you with your stress level and your pleasure level. And if you just kind of like, I've said this before, like I just feel numb. Like I just feel numb. I'm not feeling anything. Like I'm just grumpy. You might want to get your endorphins looked at. So that was just a quick burst on some of the four chemicals involved with your brain neurochemicals. And when looking at these things, asking yourself, gosh, like if I do look at my biology, if I do look at what I'm doing, what I'm eating, my movement level, is there a deeper reason as to why I'm
Yeah.
psycho?
Yeah. And the other quote that I took a picture of when we were there was, your brain is not a fixed organ. It's an
Mm.
upgradable performance machine. And your business, your wealth, your leadership all originate from a biological machine that can be optimized, rewired, and upgraded. And it's interesting because a couple of months ago, I was having a conversation with our team about energy management and about the 15-point plan as a system for energy management. And I actually have this very serious sense of responsibility as a leader. And I think if you're in real estate, maybe you're not in a formal leadership position, but I think you have a responsibility to the consumers. If you're a parent, you have a responsibility to your children, right? If you're a spouse, to your spouse. So we all have a responsibility, I believe, to make sure that we're operating and functioning the way that we're supposed to by taking care of ourselves and applying these, like the 15-point plan. Again, you don't have to use the 15-point plan, but you need to have some sort of system for managing your energy. And the analogy I use is, all the time with my team, they probably get tired of me, I'm like a broken record, but if I was having surgery, okay, and the surgeon that is working on me hasn't slept, is like over caffeinated, not having good nutrition, maybe they're hungover from drinking wine the night before, just even mildly hungover. And I found that out. So if I could follow my surgeon around for 72 hours prior to my surgery, would I feel more confident or less confident in their ability to perform the surgery on me? And I think about that as a real estate professional as well, because we are negotiating on behalf of people on the largest purchase or sale of their life usually. And if we're doing that and we're not emotionally regulated, or something is off and we're just kind of like powering through, I just think that that's really dangerous. Same thing with our children. Like, we're impacting them in ways that it's forming them in their early years. Like, are we doing this in ways, that are unhealthy because we're unhealthy? It's no longer in my mind like a bonus for me to be operating like in high performance. It's like I do feel a sense of responsibility to those that depend on me to make sure that I'm doing that. And I think that's something we can leave our listeners with. Like, this isn't about like the weight on your scale or looking good in a bikini for your vacation, or like a bonus to be healthy. Like, I think we really do owe it to ourselves and then the people that depend on us in our lives to be at our best, or at least not be deficient.
I think you nailed that, Jacqueline. I think that's such a great analogy of looking at a surgeon, and whether or not we are a surgeon in our life, we care about what we do and how we show up.
Yeah.
And we owe it to ourselves and those around us. Yeah, I think you really nailed that. So, step one, awareness. Step two, check your levels. Check your levels on some blood work if you're going to go do that. And I think awareness, just how you feel, is a
Yeah.
great way to do that. And then act on it. You deserve it. Your people deserve it. and those around you deserve it. You're going to have more energy. You're going to have less stress. Life is just going to be better, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Don't forget to check all of our previous episodes as well as our other amazing podcasts on the Win Make Give network at winmakegive.com. Share this episode with a friend, share it with a family member, like and subscribe, and follow myself and Jacqueline online, Ryan Park Greigg and Jacqueline Ray Smith. If you're on Facebook, you can find the 15-point plan for life group. You can join us there as well. Until next time, bye everyone.
Bye everyone.